Forbidden Desire. The rain had been falling since sunset, turning the streets of the old city into silver ribbons beneath the yellow streetlights. Maya stood beside the tall window of her apartment, watching the storm in silence. She had promised herself she would forget him. She had promised herself many things. Then her phone vibrated. "Adrian, are you awake?" Maya stared at the message for almost a minute before replying. "Maya, you shouldn't be texting me." 3 dots appeared. "Adrian, I know." Another message followed. "Adrian, that's why I couldn't stop myself." Maya closed her eyes. Adrian was the one person she was supposed to stay away from. Their families had been enemies for years, carrying an old secret that neither of them fully understood. Every time Maya saw him, she remembered her father's warning. Whatever happens, stay away from that family. But warnings were easy to obey when your heart wasn't involved. Adrian had become impossible to ignore. They had first met 6 months earlier at a charity event. He had stood alone on the balcony, away from the crowd, looking at the city as though he didn't belong in it. Maya had joined him. "You don't like parties?" she'd asked. "I don't like pretending," he replied. She smiled. "And you think I'm pretending?" "I think you're trying very hard not to look at me." She had laughed then. She shouldn't have, because from that night onward, something changed. They began meeting secretly, a coffee shop before sunrise, a quiet bookstore on rainy afternoons, long conversations in parked cars. Every meeting made the next one harder to resist. Tonight, however, Adrian wasn't asking for another secret meeting. He was asking her to trust him. Her phone vibrated again. "Adrian, come to the old railway station." Maya's heart raced. "Maya, why?" His answer came immediately. "Adrian, because I finally found out why our families hate each other." The old railway station had been abandoned for nearly 20 years. Maya arrived beneath the broken clock tower. Rainwater dripped from the roof as she looked around. Then she saw him. Adrian stepped out of the shadows wearing a dark coat, his hair wet from the rain. "You came." "You said you found something." "I did." He pulled an old envelope from inside his coat. Maya recognized the handwriting immediately. Her father's. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a photograph. 2 young men stood beside an old car. One was her father, the other was Adrian's father. But they weren't enemies. They were smiling. Maya looked up. "That's impossible." "I thought so too." Adrian handed her another document. "Read the last page." Maya did. Her expression slowly changed. The truth was devastating. 25 years earlier, their fathers had been business partners. They had planned to expose a powerful man who had been stealing money from both families. But before they could reveal him, someone had forged evidence against them. Their friendship had collapsed. Their families had spent decades blaming each other, and the real enemy had remained hidden. "Who did this?" Maya whispered. Adrian looked toward the darkness beyond the station. "I don't know." A sound echoed behind them. Footsteps. Maya froze. Adrian immediately stepped between her and the darkness. "Stay behind me." Another step, then another. A figure appeared at the end of the platform. Maya couldn't see his face. "Adrian," she whispered. "I know." The stranger raised a flashlight, then spoke one sentence. "You should have left the past buried." The light suddenly went out. Maya heard Adrian grab her hand. "Run." They sprinted through the abandoned station. Rain crashed against the broken windows as they escaped through a side door and into a narrow alley. They didn't stop until they reached Adrian's car. Maya was breathing heavily. "What do we do now?" Adrian looked at her. "We find the truth before they find us." For a moment, neither spoke. The rain continued falling. Adrian gently touched her cheek. Maya didn't move away. "You know this is dangerous," she whispered. "I know. If our families discover everything, I know. And if we keep doing this," his eyes met hers, "then tell me to stop." Maya looked into his eyes. She wanted to. She truly did. But instead, she whispered, "I can't." Adrian leaned closer. Their foreheads touched. The tension between them felt stronger than the storm outside. Maya closed her eyes as he kissed her softly. It wasn't wild or careless. It was the kind of kiss that carried every word they had been afraid to say. When they finally separated, Maya whispered, "This has to end." Adrian smiled sadly. Then why are you still holding my hand? She looked down. Their fingers were still intertwined. Neither of them let go. 3 days later, Maya discovered another secret. The mysterious man from the station wasn't working alone. Someone inside her father's company was helping him, and the evidence pointed toward the person Maya trusted most, her older brother. She confronted him that night. Why? He stared at her in silence. You don't understand. Then make me understand. He finally revealed the truth. Their father had known for years that the original enemy was still alive, and he had deliberately kept Maya and Adrian apart because he feared the two families would uncover everything if they became close. But there was something even worse. The man who had destroyed both families was now planning to take control of their companies, and he needed one final thing, an old ledger containing the evidence. The ledger was hidden somewhere in Maya's childhood home. Maya immediately called Adrian. We have to find it. Tonight. At midnight, they entered the abandoned family mansion. The place was covered in dust. Old paintings watched them from the walls. Every floorboard creaked beneath their feet. Maya remembered playing there as a child. Where would your father hide something important? Adrian asked. She thought for a moment. Somewhere he believed nobody would search. They searched the library. Nothing. The study. Nothing. The basement. Nothing. Then Maya noticed an old clock. She remembered her father never allowed anyone to touch it. She removed the back panel. A hidden compartment opened. Inside was a black leather ledger. We found it. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. Someone had locked them inside. Smoke began entering through the vents. Maya coughed. Adrian! He grabbed a chair and smashed the window. Cold night air rushed inside. They climbed out just seconds before flames swallowed the room. From across the garden, a man watched them. This time, Maya recognized him. It was her father's closest business partner, the man who had always treated her like family. He smiled, then disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, the truth became public. The ledger contained everything: names, payments, forged documents, bribes, the betrayal that had destroyed two families. The police arrested the mastermind before he could flee. For the first time in 25 years, Maya's father and Adrian's father stood face to face. There was silence. Then Adrian's father said, I should have believed you. Maya's father lowered his eyes. I should have asked. Years of hatred ended with 2 sentences, but Maya knew their story wasn't over. That evening, she stood outside beneath a clear sky. Adrian approached. So, he said, we're no longer forbidden. Maya smiled. Not exactly. He raised an eyebrow. Our families may have stopped fighting. And? She stepped closer. But you still have to convince me. Of what? That you can keep up with me. Adrian laughed softly. I've been trying for 6 months. Maya smiled. Then you better not stop now. He offered his hand. She took it. This time, neither of them had to hide. The desire that had once been forbidden was finally allowed to become something else. Something honest. Something real. And as they walked away together beneath the stars, Maya realized that sometimes the greatest danger wasn't loving the wrong person. It was spending your whole life being afraid of the right one.